All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a serious look at the whole mystery surrounding Colorado's so-called wilderness rifts. We're going to peel back the layers of all that modern myth and uncover the absolutely astonishing ancient truths behind them. I promise you, by the end of this, you are going to look at the Colorado landscape in a completely different way. Look, you've probably seen the exact same spooky internet folklore I have, right? The stories about hikers just vanishing into thin air, sudden disorienting fogs rolling in, and places in the wilderness that supposedly just blink out of existence. And yeah, these digital tales of sci-fi wormholes and mysterious rifts are super fun. They really capture the imagination, but they completely lack any grounding in actual history or archaeology. But if we actually shift our perspective away from those digital sci-fi tropes for a second, we discover a profound, very physical reality built entirely out of stone and earth. The real portals out there in Colorado, they aren't glitches in the Matrix. They are the physical manifestations of an incredible indigenous worldview. Which brings us to Section 1, the real cosmic gateways, discovering the ancient architecture of the ancestral Puebloans. Let's see what a genuine portal actually looks like. Here's the thing. The true gateways of the American Southwest are these, the kivas. Now, these were meticulously crafted, genuinely subterranean, circular rooms built right down into the earth, using stone and timber. And we're not talking about ordinary community meeting rooms here. These were sacred chambers, specifically designed to allow the earthly realm to physically intersect with the underworld. And right inside that kiva is what I like to call the original portal, the sapapu. It's this small hole carved directly into the floor. In Puebloan cosmology, this wasn't just symbolic, this was an actual cosmic gateway. It represented the exact place of emergence, the spot where the first humans transitioned from the underworld into our world. It acted as a literal spiritual bridge, linking the living community to their ancestors and the divine. Moving on to Section 2. Modeling the Puebloan universe, or how they grounded the cosmos in physical space. These ancient builders were doing something absolutely incredible. By combining the subterranean depth of the kiva with that sapapu hole, they were essentially building physical models of the universe itself. This architecture took their vast, complex cosmic beliefs and grounded them into a tangible, navigable space. It became a central hub where they could hold ceremonies to honor the cycles of life, the changing seasons, and, well, the whole universe. For these folks, the environment wasn't just a pretty backdrop or a source of raw materials. The landscape was, as researchers put it, truly alive with meaning. Every single element of their architecture, and even the natural landmarks surrounding them, was integrated directly into their religious life. All right, Section 3, the Sopris Phase frontier, a cultural outpost on the Great Plains. Let's zoom in on a really specific, kind of lesser-known chapter of this history, the Sopris Phase. Set down in southeastern Colorado's Purgatory River Valley, right near modern-day Trinidad Lake, this super vibrant community thrived for about 150 years, from 1050 to 1200 CE. It was this unique frontier outpost where ancestral Puebloan traditions collided with the vast, open environment of the Great Plains. And they didn't just plop the settlement down randomly. They strategically built this frontier outpost right under the looming, massive presence of the Spanish Peaks. Those magnificent summits weren't just scenery. They served as a permanent, powerful symbolic anchor for their religious ceremonies. They bridged the earthly realm and the divine right there on the plains, literally in the shadow of the mountains. Now here is what is truly mind-blowing to me. Despite being hundreds of miles east of the famous Mesa Verde heartland, those iconic cliff dwellings, these frontier people meticulously mirror the exact same high architectural and spiritual standards. They built the exact same circular subterranean kivas, they carved identical sipapu gateways, and they practiced the exact same complex cosmic ceremonies. They absolutely refused to compromise their universe just because they were living out on the frontier. Which brings us to Section 4, sealing the sacred portals. The deliberate transition of 1200 CE. Right around 1200 CE, everything changed for the Sopris Phase community. They went through a massive transformation. And this is a huge point to remember. They didn't just vanish into thin air like those internet myths want you to believe. There were no alien abductions or sci-fi disappearances. What actually happened was a highly organized, totally deliberate migration to the south. They made absolutely sure that their cultural practices, their traditions, and their spiritual heritage traveled safely with them to a new home. They didn't just pack their bags and hit the road, though. Before leaving the Purgatory River Valley, they performed this incredibly meticulous ritual closure of their kivas. First, they carefully and respectfully cleaned the subterranean space. Then, they placed sacred offerings inside the structures, honoring them as a spiritual bridge. And for the final step, they dramatically burned the heavy log groups, deliberately and permanently sealing these cosmic gateways before walking away. So today, when archaeologists dig at these sites, they're uncovering the charred beams of those burned roofs. They are literal stone echoes left behind by a society that successfully grounded its spiritual beliefs in the physical world. These echoes mark the formal, incredibly reverent conclusion of an entire era in southeastern Colorado. So what's the big takeaway here? The real mystery we should be totally captivated by isn't some internet-fueled story about people vanishing into the woods. It's about how brilliantly an ancient civilization physically bridged the earthly and the spiritual realms. It is about a group of people who built actual, tangible models of their universe using nothing but stone, earth, and an incredibly profound worldview. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Next time you're out hiking, or honestly just looking out at the natural landscape around you, how are you going to see it? Are you just going to see dirt, rock, and pretty scenery? Or are you going to look a little deeper, past all the folklore, and search for a space that is truly alive with ancient meaning?